Welcome to the Spark series, where we ignite conversations with innovators, entrepreneurs, and changemakers creating real impact. Our goal is to spark ideas, share journeys, and inspire action. My name is Jason Williams, CEO for the Society of Innovators at Purdue Northwest. And on this episode, we're going to discuss opportunity recognition, creativity, and innovation. Our conversation is going to focus on identifying problems worth solving, generating ideas, and evaluating opportunities. It's my pleasure to welcome today's Spark Series guest, Carol Podolak. She's the co-founder of BNutty Peanut Butters. What began as a creative fundraising idea for her kids' soccer team has grown into one of Northwest Indiana's sweetest entrepreneurial success stories. BNutty's gourmet peanut butters are now sold nationwide and even exported to over a dozen countries. From farmers markets in Northwest Indiana to QVC and now global export markets, Carol has turned a simple solution into a thriving business. Carol, thanks for being here. Let's get started.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, well, first, I want to just get to know a little about you, Carol. So take us back. When you recall your very first job, and what was it, and what did you learn from it?
I do recall my first real job outside of babysitting and things in the neighborhood. My first real job was working in a 50s style diner serving burgers and milkshakes as a waitress. I had a ton of fun. The location was in Southwest Michigan, right on the beach. I learned to work in a fast-paced environment. I learned to solve customer issues. And more importantly, I learned how to multitask and prioritize. I found it to be such a valuable experience to make those quick decisions, what needs to happen next to keep everybody happy. And it really kind of served me well, not just through school, but also through my job experience.
You know, at this point, right, you've developed a large palette or, catalog of flavors. Tell us, do you have a favorite BNutty flavor and what is it?
I do. I have a favorite flavor, and it's been my favorite flavor since we started. So my business partner, Joy, she's much more of the creative mind behind our flavors. And when we were first launching BNutty, she had me try the milk chocolate toffee peanut butter. And I absolutely fell in love. I took one bite and ate the entire jar. And that continues to be my favorite.
Love it. I don't know if I've tried that one. And
so
I guess
good.
that's also going to remind me, right? This isn't just peanut butter. This is the eat with a spoon gourmet peanut butter.
It
so
is. It's a
I need to
crunchy,
find that one.
inclusion-filled, almost like a healthy candy bar right in a jar. And it's fantastic.
Love it. So let's kind of dive in and learn more about the business. So, take us back to the origins of BNutty. You mentioned Joy. She's your co-founder, right? So, kind of give us the origin. How did BNutty come to be?
Gosh. So in 2014, Joy and myself, we were two soccer moms. Our kids were playing travel soccer together. I was in charge of fundraising, and Joy was just really tired of selling candy bars and wrapping paper. She wanted to sell something healthy. So she started developing peanut butter in her home kitchen. She started working with some consultants, developing these amazing peanut butter flavors, a pretzel white chocolate peanut butter, a milk chocolate toffee peanut butter, a blueberry peanut butter, and she wanted to sell them as a fundraiser. At the time, I was on maternity leave from my job, and I was planning out a year's worth of fundraising activities for our soccer club. Okay. I had just set the calendar to sell everything from candles to wrapping paper to candy bars to pizzas. And I had finished all of the marketing material. The calendar was laid out, and she came to me and said, let's sell peanut butter. And I'm like, maybe next year. I'm done. I have finished the calendar. Next year sounds like a great year to sell peanut butter. And so my son's soccer coach, who was the same coach for her son, his wife found me on the soccer field, and she said, you have to try this peanut butter that Joy is making. Just take one bite of it, and I'll never say the word peanut butter to you again. And I was like, okay. And so I took one bite of that milk chocolate toffee peanut butter, and in the middle of that hot 80-degree soccer field with not a piece of bread or a glass of water inside, I ate the whole jar and fell in love with it. Canceled every fundraiser that we had, and we just started selling peanut butter. So Joy was making peanut butter, and I was teaching kids how to sell peanut butter. And it wasn't even a job or the thought of being a business. We were two volunteers, just volunteering our time. And we fell in love with the industry, and that's really how BNutty started. It was a desire to help some kids from Northwest Indiana afford an opportunity to go to a soccer showcase in Texas, and then Florida, and then California. And things just really kind of snowballed from there. Mm-hmm.
No, that's great. And you really, you express, right? It was kind of birthed out of that frustration.
It was.
For you, right? You needed a better fundraiser. But on some level, right? I mean, this did evolve into that business. And what was that moment? And what led to, okay, we have a business here. We've got to formalize this a bit.
So as we were growing and people were falling in love with the flavors, what Joy had originally pitched as once a year, like the Girl Scouts. It turned into 4 times a year. And we started going to more and more tournaments. We started doing more and more fundraisers. And then one day somebody said, you guys should go to a local farmer's market. Forget the fundraisers, just go where there's hundreds of people and sell your peanut butter. We thought that might be fun. So we took a group of kids, a whole soccer team, and we set up a booth here in Northwest Indiana at the Chesterton European Farmers Market. And we sold out. We sold every jar of peanut butter we had, and people were asking us if we were coming back the next week. And we were like, this was kind of easier. We could do this. It was really after we saw the consumer's immediate reaction to it. When people are calling saying, I bought this jar of blueberry peanut butter. I ate the entire thing. I can't wait another week for the farmer's market. I can't wait 6 months for another fundraiser.
I think it's a great story, right? I mean, I think, being a food entrepreneur, kind of a, not uncommon, right? It's, someone makes a really great barbecue sauce at home and, it's family saying, man, you really got to bottle that and sell it.
Yes.
Or it's peanut butter for a fundraiser. But now, on the flip side now, you're a big established corporation, you're exporting to countries. I guess walk us through, going from kitchen to farmer's market to maybe a commercial kitchen to your own production facility. I guess what do people have to keep in mind when they see a food business?
We love what we do, but there have been so many challenges and so many hurdles that we've conquered every step of the way. We started in a home kitchen with a Cuisinart food processor. We moved to a shared commercial kitchen space in Valparaiso. It was called Nana Claire's Kitchen. Yeah. They rented space out by the hour. And so that was where we first started producing it, learning about food safety. They offered classes there. They gave us a chance to incubate and to really learn more. We didn't come from a manufacturing background. Joy was a nurse midwife. I was a project manager. And so we leaned a lot on resources in the local community. So Nana Claire's, they taught us our first food safety class. The health department here in Valparaiso taught us a lot about how to get registered and regulatory. We started working with the ISBDC. They were getting us in touch with people, Society of Innovators. We started reaching out and networking and asking a ton of questions. So, if there was somebody that you could ask a question to, we just asked it. We participated in some export accelerator programs, and they taught us about reaching out to other companies and asking them questions for benchmarking. And it's surprising how many other companies in Northwest Indiana will stop and give you a hand up.
Thinking through, your growth with BNutty, what was, maybe a turning point opportunity that opened up more doors than you expected?
Yeah, QVC definitely opened up a lot of doors for us because they moved so much volume in a short period of time and have reached to consumers across the country. When we got an opportunity to take the peanut butter on air, which we still do, it gave us the opportunity to start buying larger quantities. And that really turns the corner. The larger buyers, retail buyers like the QVCs, or we did an In-N-Out with Walmart, when they start buying large quantities, you start being able to buy your product wholesale for a much more affordable rate. And that really was an eye-opener for us. That's when we realized the economies of scale and what that truly meant to our bottom line. And we got really excited and realized we need to sell more peanut butter to make their current peanut butter profitable.
I guess on some level, right? I mean, you enjoy in the company, you're making these decisions to, take advantage of opportunities to grow. You're deciding to go global. How does that change your own mindset, or really, how you have to change your team to meet that?
Yeah. So every good and bad idea at the Nut House started with, how hard could it be? And I will say that there are many times in your entrepreneurial journey that you will think, how hard could it be? Sometimes it's not hard, and sometimes you're like, what in the world was I thinking? And there's always that fear, right? You get back and you're like, wow, I just signed my first export contract and it's for 7 figures over the next 14 months. How in the world are we going to do this? You strap your boots on and you get in there, and as a team, you dig in and figure it out. And I think it's really important to surround yourself with the right team. More importantly than the team that has maybe the experience, not just the experience and not just the knowledge, but the attitude, right? That startup entrepreneur attitude is everything. It's everything. It's, do I want to do this? Do I not mind losing some sleep? Am I passionate about this to work on it on the weekends and in my off hours? And you have to put the time in. With anything in life, there's a learning curve. And that learning curve, how fast or how slow you get through it, it's all dependent upon you. And I was lucky to be partnered not just with a business partner that felt the same way I did, but a fantastic team that really wanted to conquer this with us.
I want to go back to the product itself for a minute.
Yeah.
BNutty certainly lives up to the gourmet peanut butter name. You've developed a reputation for delicious flavors and just good product. But beyond the product, you've also done a really good job of creative packaging, developing gift sets and bundles. I guess talk about that a little bit, right? As you start producing, you're putting peanut butter in jars, and somewhere along the line, you got to develop, the right packaging for that. But talk about those decisions. What goes into, identifying how do we sell this?
I will have to say that is where we lean on a really important business lesson that we learned. Find people that know more than you do. Okay. We're two soccer moms with a passion for creating delicious peanut butter, helping kids, and growing a company. We're not packaging experts. And so we rely really heavily on partners. We've got a great team. In fact, our creative designer is right here from Northwest Indiana, Griffith, Indiana. And he's been instrumental in, he partnered us with a great ad agency, and they help us with everything from the bundles that you see on Amazon to some of our gift sets, advising us on what's going to sell well. So I don't have to be the smartest person in the room at everything. I just have to know people who are. And that's a great lesson. You think as a business owner, I should know everything. I should be able to do all of these things and have the right answer all the time. I have the right answer almost never. Yeah. I'm really just researching, figuring it out, trying new things, and asking a ton of questions. And that's really been, we think, how our company has managed to grow and evolve so quickly.
What would you tell your younger self?
I guess the first thing I would say is don't be afraid to make a mistake, right? So many times we all let fear of not knowing everything or not being right or not having all the knowledge stop us from stepping forward. Just take the first step. I think that's something really important. But I would also tell myself, you don't have to grow so fast all the time. Sometimes the right strategic growth is so much more valuable than growth for growth's sake. And that's a hard lesson that we have learned more than once at the Nut House, and had it hit us over the head is that just because it's a big splashy sale doesn't mean it's the right sale for us.
One question we like to ask every guest on the Spark series is, looking at innovation. What does innovation mean to you?
Innovation for me means constant change. I see often brands, they innovate and they have a great idea and they come out with it, and then that's it. And then suddenly you fast forward a couple years and that great idea is no longer a great new idea. And so innovation is constant. You have to constantly be looking, what is my next step? What is new? What is trending? And just because I like it doesn't mean that it's innovative enough for everyone else. Right. There are flavors that Joy and I have tried along the years that we have absolutely adored, and they resonated with absolutely no one. And flavors we thought, who in the world is going to eat that? And everyone fell in love with it. And so I think it's important to realize that innovation isn't just about you thinking something is a good idea. What is that need in the marketplace? What is trending? What is relevant today? And how can we tap into that as we continually innovate?
Great stuff.
Look at that. Thanks you so much.